Okay students, let us continue with the HVDC and facts lecture. In the last few lectures we have seen the converter operation, and we have seen the basic half wave rectifier and center tap full wave rectifier. Today we will see a bridge rectifier. So in a bridge rectifier, instead of only two walls we have four walls. So we have a transformer like this, and on the secondary side of the transformer we have four walls. So right now I am showing the diodes only because I am just considering an uncontrolled rectifier. So there will be four diodes like this, and these four diodes will be connected in a bridge fashion. Okay, they are connected in a bridge fashion, so that this is, again remember, this is a single phase rectifier. So I'll have one of the points connected at here, and another wire will be connected on the center of these two diodes. Okay, now I can name the currents in this path. I can name this current as current I1, current here I can name as I2, right? And on the other side I have a load which is connected via a large inductor. So I have a load which is connected. Okay, here I have a load, right? This is a DC side of the rectifier, so this is a load. Now the walls are specifically named. I am going to write the names of the walls and the voltages of these walls, and they are specifically named based on. So this first diode is named, or wall is named as V1, while this valve is named as V2. The upper valve, this one, is named as V3, and this one is V4. So they are named like this because they conduct in a particular fashion. Okay, now this is a full wave rectifier, bridge rectifier. Now we'll see what are the advantages of this particular kind of a rectifier. So this thing has the advantage of this is that it has a better transformer utilization, and better transformer utilization because the transformer is used in both the half cycles. If you recall, in the last lecture when we have seen a center tap transformer, the transformer was not fully utilized in each half cycle, whereas it will be utilized in this case. However, the problem is that there are four walls, so this is number of walls are more, that is the drawback. Okay, now we'll draw the waveforms and we'll try to understand this better. Okay, so let me draw the waveforms now. Now first of all I will draw the waveform of the secondary of the transformer. So this particular voltage Vs I am going to draw. Okay, so let me start with the waveform like this. So I have this one complete cycle of the waveform, and this continues, right? If I project this, please mind that both the half cycles are same. Please ignore if you feel that there are some inconsistencies, please ignore that. Okay, now if I see how this works. So whenever this waveform is negative, okay, whenever the sine wave is negative, at that time the upper point, upper terminal will be minus, lower terminal will be plus. So when the lower terminal is plus, at that time the diodes V3 and V4 will conduct. Diodes V3 and V4 will conduct. Because there will be forward bias. So V3 and V4 will conduct when the upper plate is minus and lower plate is plus. So this point is plus. Okay, so if you carefully see, this point becomes plus and this point becomes minus. So this is forward bias. So from here the current will go through the load and it will get the return path through this V4. All right, and then back here. So during this period V3 and V4 will conduct, but the voltage at this terminal will be always plus minus like this. Okay, so if I draw the waveform, it will be like this, and during this period diodes or walls 3 and 4 are conducting, right? Now as soon as the direction of the voltage changes, that means the upper point becomes plus and lower point becomes minus. This upper point is plus and lower point becomes minus. At that time V1 and V2 will conduct. Okay, so V1 will conduct, V2 will conduct. Okay, so if V1 and V2 conduct, then still I will get the waveform output as like this. This is the DC voltage waveform. So here 1 and 2 are conducting. right? That's why the volts are named like that, 1 2 3 4. So this is the DC voltage waveform, and I can calculate the average of this voltage, and I can name that voltage as VD, constant voltage VD. So if I calculate the average, then this much distance is VD. Okay, this much distance is VD. So this is the DC output voltage you will get. Now let us come to the peak inverse voltage, because we have discussed that this is one of the most important aspects in any rectifier or in any kind of a converter. What is the voltage which is appearing across a valve when it is off? So if you consider any valve, you can consider any valve. If I consider valve V1, if I consider the first valve, okay, if I consider this valve V1, during the off condition, this valve will be subjected to reverse voltage. How much amount of reverse voltage? So during the off condition, it will be subjected to the reverse voltage of Vm, where Vm is the maximum voltage on the secondary side. Okay, maximum voltage on the secondary side. So if I try to draw the waveform during this period when 3 and 4 are conducting, voltage across wall 3 and wall 4 will be 0. Voltage across wall 1 and 2 will be negative Vm. It will be minus Vm. Maximum voltage will be minus Vm. Then it will be 0. Then it will be 0 like here. There will not be any voltage. Once again it will become minus Vm. So this peak value is Vm. This peak value is Vm. Okay. So the peak inverse voltage in this case is Vm. If you remember in the last case when we had seen the center tap kind of a rectifier, the peak inverse voltage was the peak inverse voltage in one case was minus 2 Vm, but in this case it is Vm only, right? Now once again we come back to the questions like what is the pulse number of this rectifier. So pulse number, please recall this, we are doing this for every kind of a converter. So pulse number is the number of pulses in the DC output voltage, per cycle of AC voltage. So in this one cycle of AC voltage from here to here, this is one cycle of AC voltage, I have two ripples in DC voltage. So this rectifier has a pulse number of 2. Right? And the peak inverse voltage PIV in this case is Vm, maximum voltage Vm. PIV is Vm, right? Then we can calculate the value of VD0. We have to calculate the value of VD0. What is VD0? VD0 is the DC voltage when the firing angle is 0. Now since these are diodes, the firing angle can be called as 0. So we will calculate the value of VD0 now. Okay, so VD0 can be calculated by the formula of integration 1 upon pi integral 0 to pi 1 upon pi integral 0 to pi Vm sin omega t d omega t. Vm sin omega t d omega t, right? Now and this can be easily calculated, you can easily calculate it. So this will be 1 upon pi, and here Vm sin omega t, if you take Vm outside, then this will be minus cos omega t. So I can write this as Vm by pi, okay, and the integration answer will be I can make it this as a bracket. This will be minus cos omega t. With limits from 0 to pi. So if you substitute the limits, you get the answer as 2 Vm by pi. Just substitute these values here, you will get the VD0 as 2 Vm by pi. Okay, 2 Vm by pi, right? So this is the advantage of the full bridge rectifier, that the DC voltage output is twice Vd by pi, right? Now furthermore waveforms we have to see. Let us see those waveforms. Okay, if I want to draw the current waveforms, I have shown you the voltage waveforms earlier. Now if you want to show the current waveforms, then you can see whenever I1 is there means when this current is on, that means walls V1 and V2 are conducting. So when walls V1 and V2 are conducting, I will get the current in this duration, okay, from this point to this point. This will be constant current ID. So I will be getting a waveform like this, okay, which is ID. So excuse me for this drawing, I will make it proper. So this will be a constant current like this id. Okay, so this magnitude is id. This is when wall v1 and v2 are conducting, and when wall v3 and v4 are conducting, I'll get the current here. Okay, so when this here the current is id. So these are the currents I1 and I2 which are flowing on the secondary side. So on secondary side of the transformer we have these kinds of current, right? Again from here I'll get another current. But if you translate this to primary side of the transformer, you will get a square wave kind of a waveform. You will get a square wave kind, because this is secondary current I1, this is secondary current I2. Okay, secondary current I1, secondary current I2. Please excuse me, this is not the correct waveform. This will be the waveform. Okay, so this is I2 and this is I1 and I2. Now let us see how this current will look on the primary side. Okay, so once again I have drawn the waveforms for your benefit. So if you look at this is the current waveform for the upper one is for current I1, this is for current I2. And if you see the waveform which is flowing through the secondary of the transformer, so it will be I1 minus I2. It will be I1 minus I2. So if you look at this diagram, the current at any time in the secondary side of the winding will be current I1 minus I2. So the current flowing in this winding will be I1 minus I2. Current flowing in this winding will be I1 minus I2. So I1 minus I2, if I do that I1 minus I2 here, okay, I have to simply subtract the currents. So here in this case the I1 is 0 and I2 is this much. Okay, so if you calculate I1 minus I2, then you will get this minus ID, right? Same way this 0, okay, I1 is ID, I2 is 0, so this value will be plus ID and so on. So I'll get a square wave kind of a waveform. Okay, I'll get a square wave waveform in the transformer secondary. And if you transform this current on the primary side, if you take this is your transformer secondary current IS. Okay, so on primary side this is transformer secondary winding current. If you transfer this on the primary side, then it will be I primary will be IS upon T. I primary will be IS upon T, where IS is the secondary current, T is the transformation ratio. So point is, essentially your current in the transformer winding will be a square wave waveform like this. It will not be a sinusoidal waveform. Please remember this. It will not be a sinusoidal waveform. It will be kind of a square wave waveform like this. And such square wave waveforms will generate harmonics. And for that purpose, we have to have special converter transformers. So we had discussed this earlier. Okay. So these things we have to understand, right? So let us summarize. Okay, so let us summarize the points that we have learned about this full wave rectifier. One thing, the first point to note here is that it uses 4 walls. Okay, 4 walls, 4 diodes are used. Okay, then it uses one transformer. Right? Then the pulse number of this type of converter is 2. The peak inverse voltage in this kind of a converter is Vm, where Vm is the maximum voltage on the secondary side. Okay, the transformer utilization is better in this case because in both the half cycles it is used. Okay, and both primary and secondary currents are square waves. So the current waveforms are square waves in both primary and secondary, right? The point is, the wall rating in this case will be 0.5 Vm into Id, because that is the average current that is going through it. The average current also we can find. So average current, if you calculate, the average current is Id by 2, where Id is the secondary current. So if you take the average, it is coming as Id by 2. So the wall rating will be also less. Wall rating required will be average current into voltage into this. So it is average current is this. So valve rating is 0.5 Id into Vm. So this valve rating required is less, this wall rating required is less, but number of walls required are more. So if you compare this with the earlier kind of a transformer, okay, so this is the analysis of your full wave rectifier. And in this case, one more thing, that VD0 that we are getting is a good value, 2 Vm by pi. This is also a good thing that we are getting. So for a converter, you should look that you should get higher VD0, you should get higher pulse number, you should get less peak inverse voltage. These are the good things for any this. Then transformer utilization is also good. The problem with this kind of thing is that there are 4 walls, so we can say that this is the negative point, that we have to use 4 walls, okay. And then again the square waves, that can be said as a negative aspect, okay. Otherwise the this kind of a converter is good, especially for high voltage applications. So when you are going for high voltage applications, most important and limiting factor which comes is the peak inverse voltage. So you should have as low peak inverse voltage as possible. That's why this kind of a converter is good for application to high voltage applications, right? So this is the full wave bridge rectifier. So we have completed all the kind of single phase rectifiers we have seen, and we have compared them. In the next lecture we'll see a 3-phase rectifier, and finally the HVDC converter will be completed. Right students, thank you for listening to this class.